Hey y'all, I'm Clay Barber, Program Director for Sound Rivers. Welcome to Swim Guide. We're super happy to have y'all's help. Without you, this would be impossible, and we love this program because we get to let people know when and where it's safe to swim over the summer weekends. Now we're going to show you how to take samples and talk about the science behind that. So the first thing that we're going to do every time we go out to take a sample is check the weather to make sure the conditions are safe to do so. If the weather's not looking safe out there, contact your volunteer coordinator. Otherwise, we're good to go. Next, we're going to gather up all the gear we need to go take our samples. So for gear, we have our gloves, hand sanitizer, a sampling pole, a temperature control bottle, a sanitary sample bottle that's sealed, a thermometer, clipboard and data sheet, a Sharpie, and a cooler bag with some freezer packs in it. And now it's time to take our samples. So when you're taking your samples, put on your gloves first. This is not only to protect your hands, but to protect our samples too. You want to be sure to label your temperature control bottle as temperature control so that it doesn't get mixed up with the actual sample we'll be putting in the incubator. So first we're going to check our temperature control. We're going to use our modified golf ball picker-upper that holds our bottles very nicely. This fits in here like so. And then we remove our lid. And then we extend the pole out so that we can get away from the water's edge just a little bit. And we're gonna get out here as good as we can safely. Dip the bottle into the current. Fill it up. Carefully retrieve the bottle. Pop this thing out of the holder. Put in our thermometer. Once our thermometer's been in here for a minute or two to get a good reading, record that reading in the temperature control and field category, and then cap your temperature control, put it in your cooler. It will be measured again once you drop off your sample. Our temperature control is important to make sure that our samples don't get too hot to and from the place that they were collected and the place that they're being dropped off. And that is just a simple matter of quality control for our sampling. So next we're going to take our actual sample for testing. This is in a sealed bottle and we don't need to break the seal until it's ready to take the sample. So we fitted it into our sample pole holder. And we're going to remove this tab, keep our plastic, carefully remove the top, careful not to touch the inside of the bottle or drop it or anything like that. And then just like our control sample, we're gonna reach out here as far and as safely as we can. We're gonna dip this into the water against the current. We're gonna carefully bring it back. We want to be sure the sample bottle is filled above this 100 milliliter line on the bottle before safely and carefully putting our lid back on. Now we're going to take this sample and drop it into our cooler. Always be sure that you've labeled your bottle appropriately with your Sharpie. You want the location, you want your initials, and you want the date that you took your sample. So we have offices in Washington, New Bern, and Raleigh. You will either transport your sample to the office directly or to a predetermined location between you and your volunteer coordinator. We include a bottle of hand sanitizer in your sampling kits because sometimes the water you're sampling may be pretty dirty, and we always encourage you using this once you're done sampling. So when you arrive at your sample drop-off location, the last thing you want to do before handing over your actual sample is to retake the temperature of your temperature control sample to ensure that your sample was safely transported. Take the temperature control reading for a minute or two and then record that on your data sheet in the temperature control and office category. Once you've recorded the temperature of your sample at your drop-off location, you can dump out that temperature control bottle and reuse it for your next sampling. Once you've transferred your samples over to your volunteer coordinator, your job for the week is done, and we really appreciate it. It's a super important job, and we want to thank you for being a part of Sound River Swim Guide.